You hear the stories, the cold spots, the fleeting shadow, the bump in the night. But what if those aren't just spooky tales? What if they're pieces of a larger puzzle? Pieces connected by human experience, emotion, and memory. I'm Tiffany, a paranormal investigator and psychic medium. Here on Beyond Logic with Tiffany, we're stepping past the fear. We're not just hunting ghosts, we're seeking to humanize the paranormal, connect with the spirits, find compelling evidence, and finally connect the dots that link our world and the next. This is Beyond Logic with Tiffany. Hey everybody, if you follow me on Facebook, which I hope you do, you know that I post random questions all of the time. They're usually my random thoughts that I pose into forms of questions, just to gauge others' opinions and things. And I always put a disclaimer on there, like, I'm not here for you to change my opinion. You know, my opinions are my own, and yours are yours. Just be respectful, whatever. I was thinking about that the last time that I posted, and it's not that I don't want somebody to change my opinion, because honestly, there's been times where my opinion has changed based off of somebody else's opinion. However, I don't want anybody's opinions to be shoved down my throat, or somebody else to go after somebody else for their opinion, which fortunately has not happened. But I do know how the paranormal community works, and I put that on there just as a save my ass type scenario. But that being said, I put on a post, why do we only get spirits from the 1900s and not anybody that has recently passed away? And they come over the recorder, or you hear like a big boom or a light bulb explodes, and they hear it's Brittney bitch from their 2002 bender, and they're like still in party mode. I extended that thought process, and I said that, do other energies that are older overpower the new ones, or does the new generation of people that have passed on have less unfinished business? Whatever the case may be. And it really didn't gain as much attention as I had thought it would. But I also put on there that if you know me, to wait for the podcast episode to release. Because eventually I do talk about my thoughts and my opinions and whatever. That being said, I wish we knew the answers to these questions, just because they are so fascinating, because there are so many variables. There are things that we still don't have the answers to, and we probably never will. But you would think that the older energies wouldn't be coming through as aggressively as they are if it deteriorates over time. Now, I was on another podcast. I was a guest on a podcast, and we kind of touched on this subject too. Which is kind of what sparked everything else. Which is the Trapped Souls podcast. I recommend you check it out, because he asks some really good questions. But I still don't know why, and we probably never will know why, the newer energies aren't around as prominently or in your face as the older ones. Is it because the older ones have had more time to gauge how to use their energy to manipulate the things around us? Or is it because our technology doesn't pick up on the energies now? Does that make sense? It makes sense kind of in my head. But I guess to continue on with that, there's always a reason where my wittiness comes from, like where my random crap pops into my head. When I was 16, there was a newer energy, we'll say, that had passed away in the probably mid-90s. I want to say like 95-ish. Maybe even a little bit before that, or a little after, give or take like 2 years. which is fairly new in most standards as far as, like, ghostly happenings and energies and things. Well, this person not only manipulated the TV in the living room, my little siblings commented on seeing this person in our living room. Oh gosh, I must have been before 16. I was probably 13 or 14. Gosh. Anyway, so, I mean, we're talking 20 years ago. Anyways, this person also manipulated the light switches and the light bulbs, the electricity. Every time I flipped on a light switch within this time frame that everything was going on, I had 2 light bulbs explode from a surge of energy. Now, you can argue that it was just a power surge. Cool. That's fine. And that's kind of what I thought too until I started, like, the night progressed. But it happened on 2 different levels of the house, which run on 2 different circuits at 2 separate times. So I was going downstairs to flip over the laundry because, you know, that was part of my chores, and it was late. Like, it wasn't just... I mean, not that paranormal activity can't happen in the middle of the day, but it wasn't just in the middle of the day. It was, like, probably midnight-ish. Yes, I was a night owl when I was a teenager. Always was. I still kind of am now, but my job doesn't allow that. But anyway, so I went down and I went to flip on the light, and the light bulb exploded. Like, it flashed and then just glass all over the place. And I was like, nope, I'm not going down there. And the way that my basement worked in my childhood home was that you flipped on the stair light and then you had to go a little ways and there was another light to turn on. That second light was the one that exploded. So it wasn't even like it was just a happenstance that, you know, all the lights were on at the same time or something. No, like, I went to turn on the other light, and you would think that if it was a power surge, they both would have exploded at the same time, but it was only one. So I flew back upstairs, and I was like, I'll clean that up when the lights are on, like when it's bright outside. And I've kind of shared this story before in my previous episodes, which were probably like 40 episodes ago. So if you haven't listened to it, I couldn't even tell you honestly which one it's in. But we proceeded to go on about the night. We were talking about stuff. It was me and my cousin that were standing there, and my mom. And I turned around to turn on the kitchen light over the stove. But it was like an actual switch, so it wasn't just like an overhead fan light. It was a legitimate, like, light bulb. The light exploded again. And I'm just like, oh, I'm done for the day. Like, no. So I cleaned up the light, went to bed. We all went to bed. Right around 3 o'clock. Because we were, like, I was a night owl. And it was summer vacation, so, like, we didn't have school the next day or anything. It wasn't just a random weekend. Like, it was literally in the middle of the week. We went to bed, and the family van that we had started freaking out. Like, I'm talking, like, the lights were going off, the horn was blaring. Like, and it wasn't just, like, one solid, like, blare of the horn. It was, like, beeping, like, continuously, like, repetitively. It was just so weird. And, like, for everything to short circuit and then for the van to short circuit, like, that's not connected to the house, obviously. So, long story short, the next day we found out that something extraordinarily just horrible happened. And I and my family still doesn't have any explanation for any of it, aside from the fact that it was paranormal. Going on to the whole Bender thing, that has no correlation to it. I was just being a sarcastic asshole. But it does kind of correlate with the fact that there are new energies that can and will still make their presence known, just not as frequently as the older ones. Now, I'm not sure if anything has really happened since then with the person that was involved with this whole thing. The unfortunate event, I guess we'll say. But I do know that the person that was involved or connected to the person that it involved was rolling over in her grave, and she made it known that she was pissed. And I feel like all of her anger from the situation that was going on was channeled into trying to get our attention. Now, you can't change the past, and you can only look, hindsight's 20/20. If I know or knew then what I know now, it would have been like, okay, what's going on? But then it was just like, what the hell's going on, Like, not even in the paranormal sense, but spirit uses signs and signs all of the time. I can't say the other word I was going to say, so just forget it. To get your attention, to say, hey, this is what's going to happen, or this is what's going on. Does any of that correlate? I have no idea. Was it only because that emotion was so strong that she was able to project all of that as a spirit, which otherwise she's happy and at peace with the situation? Is that why there's not more stuff that goes on? I don't know. I feel like this is the first wave of generation that there wasn't much anger. And that really seems contradicting, because I feel like this next wave is going to be full of anger. We went from a society that solved a lot of issues, made a lot of progress, to now, which is just a bunch of hate and a lot of shame, and I don't know how else to explain it. Like, we go in waves. Like, the generation that's my generation is breaking generational curses, and I feel like the 1900s were the same way. You go a little bit past that and you go into, the 90s and stuff, where things were a bit more calm. There wasn't as much chaos. There wasn't, a lot of hate in the world yet. It was still calm from the first wave of getting through all of the hate. So if you look at history, obviously there's been a lot of waves of change, a lot of waves of hate, a lot of waves of war and genocide and all of that. So you think back to those times, they were all angry, they were all hurt, they were all just wanting to tell their side. World War II kind of switched everything with that. There was a lot of laws made. There was a lot more freedoms given. There was, things changed. So that time frame, about when my great-grandmother was alive, there's not a lot of animosity there. There's not a lot of hate there. There's not a lot of just the negativity. Now you go into my grandparents' era, it kind of switched back into, war and aggression, mean. Women had just started to stand up for themselves. Going to my parents' generation, where they are healing from all of the shit that happened from their parents' parents, which was all of the war and the hate and the pain. These processes are starting to piece together for me. It's more than just energy at that point. It's patterns, it's history, it's breaking cycles. Now, the generation that I'm in now, or that we're all in, I guess, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of hurt, but there's also a ton of healing. We are one of the softest generations I've seen, and it bothers the ever-living daylights out of me, because I am not a soft person. I grew up when the world didn't cater to me. the next generation after us, they expect everything to be just handed to them. And I could be off with this, but that's just my opinion and how I feel about it. And everything is fed on a silver spoon. I think the generation when I pass, my children, or child, I guess, because I don't have children, will hopefully take all of the generational things that I've healed and continue to pass that along. So there's no more hurt. And I'm not saying that there's not still hurt in the world, and I'm not saying that there's not still hate or anything in any of these generations, but I feel like how we cope with it has been different through history, and that is in reflection of how spirits act in the afterlife. You're always going to get the mean spirits, the nasty spirits, the spirits that, are classified as demons, if you will, or negative. But maybe that's just because that's how their life was. Or maybe, one of the comments was, well, what happens if, you get their name wrong and they're just pissed off? That was on the last podcast I was on. That was a point that was brought up, and it actually made me laugh because there is a very valid point there. I get pissed off when I get called Stephanie. At work or otherwise. It's on my goddamn badge. Read my name. If you can't read that there's no S in front of my T, then there's a problem. But it also happens... I also use it to my advantage at work, because they'd be like, oh, I talked to Stephanie, and she said, oh, well, I'll let Stephanie know that she screwed up, or, that you didn't appreciate how she handled the situation, which... It was me, because I'm blunt, because I'm honest, and honestly, I'm not a brown noser, and I really just don't give two shits. I'm going to tell you how it is. And a lot of people don't like that. Even in my professional life. So, yeah, that's me. I'm bold, I'm loud, and I don't expect respect, but I match it. So if you can be nasty to me on the phone, but you're going to turn around and be nice to me to my face, you can bet you I'm going to do the same thing to you. But I also know my limits, and I also know how to be professional when I need to be. Anyways, this is getting off topic. Anyway, so if you go on to looking at behavioral patterns and history, and you go through all of these things, then maybe it makes a little bit more sense as to why we don't get certain energies through and all of that. Now I'm going to kind of spin it into what I do. I went to Delaware Road in, I don't even remember where, I guess it's classified as Buffalo. Where I felt the energies of 2 teenagers that passed away. And it was fairly recent. It was in 2000 something, 2005 maybe. I picked up on that. I went in there blind like I usually do. And again, this is another podcast episode. I wish I knew which one it was. I suppose I could probably look. But, I'll have to look back. I don't think I can get out of it right this minute. But I didn't pick up anything, as far as an EVP or anything like that. That was literally just me using my abilities and Googling things after the fact. Which I like to do a lot. I like to go in blind and research later to confirm the things that I've already felt. And that's helping me build up my confidence of using my abilities and actually trusting that they exist and not thinking that I'm just some cuckoo bananas dodo bird. But there's one other issue that I kind of touched on with Lottie, which is going to be the episode before this one, of the paranormal people. There's no vetting process. You're not going to always get the best of the best in this field. And that's something that unfortunately people are really recognizing as of late, because there was a fairly known paranormal team, and I believe they were based out of Pennsylvania, that the founder of this team just got arrested on child offenses. I'm not sure the extent of them. I haven't looked into it. I don't want to put out false information. However, they are classified now as a sex offender and a child, basically just a pedophile. I'll put that out there. But you don't always know who you're interacting with. And it was kind of, it was kind of shocking that people didn't realize that anybody could do this before this happened. Like, now everybody's in an uproar because they think that you need to be vetted before you can do this. No, you don't. I'll say it. Anybody can do this. It doesn't matter of their history. It doesn't matter what their preferences are. It doesn't matter if they're on the sex offender registry list. Do I agree with it? Absolutely not. I'm going to say 100%. Do I agree that they should be? No. But are we going to be able to prevent that? Also, no. It's going to happen. And the fact that people are this surprised just is blasphemous to me. Because honestly, truly, most of this stuff isn't with kids anyways. Again, not saying I agree with it, but most paranormal teams are based off of the fact that they don't allow children to investigate with them. I don't let my child investigate with me. Everything I do when I do collaborative investigations is all done with just me. My child is not involved. My child will never be involved until they are of a certain age that I feel that they would be able to make those decisions. Now again, if I'm going to be adding somebody to my team, I am going to personally vet them, and I'm going to personally make sure that they are not a scumbag, and I'm going to personally keep my guard up, because that is just who I am. Does that mean that these people can't do paranormal stuff? No. Does that mean that they're going to be around? Yes. Does that mean I'm going to stop doing it because they're there? Well, no, that came out wrong. Does this mean that I'm going to stop doing it because there is the possibility that they will form a team? No. Does it mean that I have to participate with them during these things? Also, no. I can choose who I investigate with. I can choose who I add onto my team. And I can choose where I go. If I know that so-and-so is going to be there, I don't have to be there at the same time. If I don't trust so-and-so, I don't have to have them around. It takes me a while to get used to somebody. It takes me a while to even trust somebody. When I say that I trust you, I mean that with every ounce of my being. Because it doesn't happen very often. There are very, 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 very few people in my circle. And my circle keeps getting smaller because my bullshit radar just keeps expanding. It's unfortunate that this happened, and it's really even more unfortunate that it's going to put a bad name to the paranormal, because I know how this works. Because it's a very widely known source, I guess. Like, it's all over the news. It's all over the place. I hope this doesn't put a bad name on paranormal teams. But there's so many more of us out there that are good than bad. Especially in that context. Like, ugh. I mean, it turns my stomach to even know that there probably were people that had their families around this person or whatever. Like, I was personally following the team. I don't think they were following me, which is absolutely fine. And I've looked and I couldn't find them, but I'm pretty sure I blocked them anyway, so even if they were following me, they wouldn't be able to see me. But they had a significant following, and that just makes me just so sad. And I don't know the extent of the details of this person or what was found. And personally, I honestly don't even want to know, because I get super upset over stuff like that. I'm just not even going to get into it. But that being said, it's unfortunate that we can't personally ban those types of people from this community, but this community can step up for what is right and make it known that we don't tolerate it and that we don't accept it. And now I kind of wonder, there's... Okay, my brain is kind of dumb. So, if you follow any sort of anything, that inmates don't like pedophiles. I wonder if other spirits, just give them hell too. After they pass away. I wonder if that's where some of the negative spirits come from, because they've just been berated their entire existence, which is deserving. Believe me, is it deserving. And they should be berated for the rest of their existence, whether that be in the present life or the afterlife. They should be just known, just shown how horrible of a human being they were. But anyway, I digress. I wonder if that's where some of the animosity comes from, and some of these negative spirits, because they were shitty humans in their life. And now they've just been shown, for eternity, that they're just the shittiest people on the planet. But that's something else to talk about, I guess. On another episode. I don't know. I was definitely taken aback by a lot of the events going on recently. And I do 100% fully understand where people are coming from when they say that they want, more action taken. But the law can only go so far, and the law already fails as it is. So, hopefully, this doesn't result in negative effects of the paranormal community. And I also hope that whatever the circumstances are around anybody involved with this person is also okay. Speaking of being okay, I've noticed that the paranormal community is a very specific set of people that seem to operate very similarly. So if anybody ever needs anything, I know I've had my spouts of things, but reach out to me. I'm always here to listen. I will always be here to support if somebody needs an extra boost. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to me, 988. If you don't know what 988 is, I would almost say happy for you, I guess. But if you don't, it's the National Suicide Hotline. It can be called, texted. You can send them a text. And they've also got online services now. Especially with everything that's going on. But yeah. That's my controversial topic for the day, I guess. But I don't know why I always end up going to the drama in the paranormal world, because I really don't like it. But I guess because I don't like it, I do it in the one place that most people can't comment on. Yeah, you can leave comments here. but it doesn't start an uproar, because most people are listening. They're not going to type it out. But that's why I like having guests, because I can spiral off and talk about the things with them and talk about more than just what pops into my head. But I am going on my first investigation of the year soon with Potter Paranormal Project. If you don't follow him, give him a follow, and then I will finally start my long-awaited journeys with BB Paranormal in the nearish future. But I'm so excited to finally get out there with those guys. It's been a long time coming. We've literally been planning this meeting since last year. I've talked to them countless times about it. And every single time we talk, it seems that we add another location together, which is just so fun. And I plan on talking to them again, but I just haven't reached out because I'm a bum. No, but I don't want to annoy them either. Super excited for what this year has to come. Like I said, my first one of the year is in 2 weeks from today, actually, which is freaking awesome. Which, depending on when you listen to this, might already have come and gone. But even still, I'm super excited. I'm very excited to work with Roger again, and I'm so excited to work with BB Paranormal with John and Chuck. I mean, just the sheer anticipation has been just killing me inside in the best way. I'm so excited. And they seem like really great people, and they take it seriously. And I'm so excited to work with them. And like I said, Roger, I've worked with him before. He was a blast to work with the first time. I get to meet some other cool people this time on this trip. I get to, see Roger again, which was cool. He's been on the podcast a couple of times. And he's always a blast to talk to and work with. Yeah, and it's in a place that I've never been in before. So it'll be exciting, and I'm excited for it. And I can't wait to finally post some paranormal stuff again that doesn't involve the random questions that pop into my head. But it'll be a fun time. It'll be a great time. It's going to be a blast all around. And I'm not going to just stop planning things. It's just going to take a little bit of a different direction now to plan. I am planning to get back out to Salem this year, which is going to be so fun. I wanted to try to make it to Louisiana and go to New Orleans. That still might be on the table. We're just going to have to make that a shorter trip, maybe. We'll see. I still want to get down there, even if it's for a couple days. I still want to get to the Lizzie Borden house. There's just so much, and there's just so little time. I just have so much that I want to do, and not enough vacation time. But we'll get there. I'll get out there. I'm already going to 2 different states that I've never actually visited before. I've driven through one of them. And the other one I've never gone past Illinois. So it'll be really, 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 really cool to get even further in the United States. Seeing as how it is literally a goal of mine to get to all 50 states, which I will eventually get to. It just is not going to be this year. And I have to remember to pump the brakes for that, because I have super, super huge dreams that go past the skies into the universe, but I'm only one person, so I need to slow my roll a little bit and realize that I have other years that I can accomplish my goals in too. With that being said, I have already kind of started to plan some things for 2027. And again, whether they actually come to fruition or not in 2027 is going to very much depend on circumstances, so we'll see. But I'm super excited. I'm so excited to get back into my investigations. I have been in such a funk, and I don't know if it's because of myself, the winter. I don't know. And I put the brakes on podcast guests for a little while, but I have February literally stacked with guests. I am starting into March, and the investigations are going to start finally, and I'm so excited, and I'm so excited to get out. I'm so excited to get rid of the freaking snow. There's been so much snow. We've hit negative temperatures here in New York. Ugh. I'm so over it. And I am so sick of being in my driveway more than I'm being in my house. And my thighs get cold, and my fingers get cold, and I can't usually walk because, for whatever reason, that's the area between my coat and my boots that is always cold. I disappeared in my ditch last week. I don't even remember if I put it on a podcast episode or not, but the frickin' neighbor was watching me, and I just decided that I was going to shovel the driveway. Well, snowblow the driveway, really. But I started to shovel, and I was like, screw this, and decided to change my mind. But anyway, I misjudged where my driveway ended because there was so much snow. And I stepped right into the friggin' ditch, and I disappeared. Like, half of me was in the ditch. And because I knew there was people watching, me personally, I laugh at myself all of the time anyways. But, like, I said out loud, found the ditch, and I just couldn't stop laughing. I was laughing uncontrollably. And it was just the funniest thing ever to me, because I am such a klutz. And I very, very, very rarely fall. But I do stumble all of the time. And I'm fun. I'm fun to be around. I'm bubbly, or at least I try to be. I know this podcast goes to a really serious side of me, but I really am a laughing, giggly person, especially when I get hurt or if somebody else gets hurt, which is really, really horrible, because if they are actually seriously hurt, I'm going to help them. But, I giggle all of the time at my own expense, too. But, there's, if somebody hits their funny bone or smacks their knee off of something, I'm probably going to be giggling. My dad kind of instilled that in me. Every time I got hurt, he would laugh at me, too, and it would usually make me laugh, and then everything was okay. But anyway, that's not here nor there. Paranormal stuff is coming. I'll have a lot more to talk about. That's not just my random ass thoughts, or controversy, or anything else. But, yeah, this is going to be a fun year, and I'm so excited to get out of my funk, and I'm so excited to be away from the snow, and I'm so excited for warmer weather. So many fun things coming. So stay tuned for all of those, and I will have some really awesome guests on my podcast. I've got some owners of some locations. One of them I am actually visiting this year, coming on the podcast, so I'm excited to talk about that. I'm hoping to be a guest on a few more podcasts, which I am going to be a podcast guest on Buck's Paranormal Podcast. He is based out of the UK. That's not until March, though. In April, I'm going to be a guest for Paranormal Girls. Brenda has been a guest on my podcast a couple of times. She's a blast to talk to. She's super sweet. Yeah, so there's some exciting things going on. Sticker trades are still a thing. I'm still getting some stickers in and sending some stickers out. Yeah, super, super, super exciting stuff. I am, so excited for this year, and I'm excited to share it with everybody. So, like I said, I'm going to once again shout out Potter Paranormal Project and BB Paranormal specifically, just because those are the two teams that are just fantastic. Offbeat Paranormal's got a super, super cool trip coming up as well that unfortunately I'm not going to be a part of, probably based off of things with work. But they did extend the courtesy to me, and I am so thankful and so just humbled by the fact that they even extended the offer, and they're awesome too. They're an awesome team. They're a couple, And they're definitely couple goals. Paranormal Girls is another one, like I said. They're awesome. Brenda's really sweet. She's nice to talk to, and they try to go on at least one investigation a month. So I follow their page pretty closely too. She posts locations of the day. Traveling Slow Paranormal, I want to get her back on. She just did a paranormal retreat thing. So I'm going to reach out to her and hoping that she will come back on the podcast, talk about that too, because I thought that was the coolest thing ever, which again, I could not make, unfortunately. But I still do have a lot of stuff coming up, and I'm hoping to get some more collaborations going, or whatever the case may be, or just keep investigating with the same teams, because I'm super stoked about everything that's going on and the people that I've encountered so far. So I think that's enough rambling for me today, and this is a little bit longer actually than I anticipated. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and until next time, bye. As I wrap up my time with you today, I hope the ideas I've shared here on Beyond Logic with Tiffany have provided a fresh perspective, challenging you to think a little differently about the world. Before you go, I have a request. I'd love for you to share this episode with one friend, colleague, or family member who you think needs to hear this specific conversation. Spreading the word is the best way to help the Beyond Logic community grow. To stay connected with everything I do and get continuous content throughout the week, make sure you follow me on all my platforms. Facebook is where my community gathers. Join the conversation, share your thoughts on the episode, and get exclusive behind-the-scenes content and Q&As. If you're on YouTube, head over to my channel to watch the full video version of this podcast and check out extended interviews and deep dives. For short, impactful, and shareable clips, follow me on TikTok. You can find all 3 platforms easily by searching for Beyond Logic with Tiffany. Until next time, keep questioning the narrative, keep exploring the possibilities, and stay beyond logic.